Hey everybody, welcome back to HomeRecordingMadeEasy.com and here on my YouTube channel. And this time out, we got something really cool. We're gonna take a first look and unboxing of the Softube Console 1 fader with the Console 1 and a cool stand that you can put both of these units in by Pro Screw Stick. And we're gonna take a look at the build quality. We're gonna talk a little bit about what this system is. And this is gonna be the first video of a series of videos talking about the Console 1 mixing system and how it might be able to benefit you so you can get a little bit closer to working on a real console inside of your DAW. So that's what we're gonna do in this video, so stick around. Okay, so here we are with the Softube Console 1 system here. We got these 3 boxes. We're gonna unbox these today. I'm gonna give you my first impressions. I haven't looked at this, haven't put this in my hand yet. We're gonna take a look at this. We're gonna look at this really cool stand that comes with it by Pro Screw Stick, which is really cool. And we're gonna put it all together here. So a little bit of backstory here. First off, I contacted Softube about taking a look at these products because some of you have asked me in some of my other fader port type videos. We took a look at some fader ports and some things by SSL in the past where are kind of like surface controls, so you can use some of the tactile feel and get some of that back inside of the box while you're working with your DAW and plugins. And some of you's asked me about the Softube Console 1 system, and I've never used one before. I had actually a Console 1, the very first revision of it, I think back in 2016. I had it for like 2 days. I borrowed it from a student of mine. I used it for a couple of days. It was really cool. I think I might even have done a live stream with it. I don't remember. You can go back and check the archive, but I never really spent any real time with it. Since that time, they've updated it. They have a new version of it, and now they've also released a Console 1 fader, which wasn't around back then when I first took a look at Console 1. And some of you asked me about what I thought of it compared to like a fader port or SSL UC1 controller, the UF8, and I never really used it. So I reached out to Softube and said, hey, I'd love to do some videos about this and compare them to maybe those other types of products. Not a direct one-to-one shootout, but just to see how is it different, what are the differences, and just see if I could bring some information to you. So full disclosure, Softube has been very, very kind to send this to me so I could bring this review to you, but they are not paying for the video in any way, shape, or form. They don't get a chance to see these videos before they go live. And as you all know, Uncle Dave is going to be honest with you, and I'm going to tell you what I like about it, if I like it, and what I may think may need to be improved if there are other improvements. The other big thing that's great about this system, and we'll talk about this a little bit in later in other videos, is it comes with the SSL 4000E channel strip, which is really emulated and based around a real SSL console. I have an SSL Origin here, which is an E-series console, and it'll be interesting to hear the difference, if there's any, between the plugin and between what it's like on a real console. So we're gonna tackle a bunch of different things in this video series to give you guys some information to let you know if this thing is just cool on its own and how does it compare to real analog and the sound and the feel of it. So that's what we're gonna do. So that's how we're gonna handle this video today. So there'll be links in the description box below. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. Go out to Sweetwater and check out the Softube Console 1 if you want to. Also, you'll have this link here for Pro Screw Stick. I think that's how you say it, for their stand here. They make a custom stand for these 2 units, so you take up less real estate on your desk. So make sure you check all the links in the description box below. So let's unbox the thing and let me give you my first impressions on how this thing looks and feels. So let's put the stand down here. Let's start with the Console 1 first. So as I said, I have not opened these and looked at them, and I have no idea. So let's take a look at the packaging. So this comes in, let's see, this little cardboard sleeve here. So that's kind of cool. Let's throw this out of the way. And I'll get some up close B-roll footage here you'll see inserted along the way. So we come with a quick start guide here because I know you're gonna have to download some software and the plugins and whatnot. So as I said, the way I understand this, and it has some really nice, easy to follow, large print, which is always nice, instruction quick start guide, which is really kind of cool. And again, I'll put some B-roll footage of this up for you so we can get up and running quickly with the Console 1. So as I said, this particular bundle, when you buy the two together, I believe, is it comes with the SSL 4000E channel strip as part of the software, which is cool. And again, check Softube's website. And again, I'll leave all the description stuff in the description box below. Check their website for current pricing and current offerings, because they may change things over time depending on when you're watching this video. So in the box, what you're gonna get here is you're gonna get some nice foam on either side. You're gonna get this, the Console 1 in a piece of plastic here. So let's unbox this. Let's see. And then we're gonna get a USB cable as well. Okay, so first thing I noticed is that there is no power cable, so it's USB powered. That's pretty cool. Didn't realize that. I thought there would be a power cable, but it looks like it's only USB powered. All right, so we have the two pieces of foam. Okay, so we got some pretty good weight to this thing. It's not plastic, it's made out of metal. Let's open this up. Can we do this without tearing the whole thing apart? Yes, we can. Not that it matters because it's just a plastic bag, but let's take a look. So we got that, we got the foam. Okay, so it's made out of metal. Nice, feels pretty good in the hand. Has little rubber feet on the bottom so it doesn't slide around on your desk, which it does not, and we're gonna put it together in the stand anyway. My first impressions are the buttons feel nice. Plastic knobs, but they're, you know, heavy duty plastic, they're not metal. Little white buttons are certainly plastic, but they have a nice feel to them. So basically, if you don't know, the Console 1 is really the channel strip. And this is what makes this system, and again, I haven't used it yet, but my first thinking and impressions and why I reached out to Softube to maybe do this set of videos is, unlike something like a fader pour or a UFA or a Behringer, whatever their surface control is, or an Avid, what's different about this is they don't call this a surface control. I think they call it a mixing system. So this is a two-piece system. This is the channel strip, where you're gonna be able to control everything from equalization to compression to your high and low cut filters and gates. And you have some saturation stuff. And so you have, you know, master volume control, input gain. So you're gonna be able to control everything that you need on a channel strip, kind of like a plugin in hardware format. Whereas most other typical surface controls really don't have that. They just have the faders and usually a transport section, and you can usually do some plug-in control depending on the unit, and you can assign things, but it isn't a laid out channel strip. This I like. The only company that I know makes something similar to this is the SSL UC1, which you've seen on this channel before. That's a wonderful product by SSL, Solid State Logic. But the downside to that is you can only control their two plugins, their channel strip and their bus compressor version 2. If you don't have those two plugins, or you'll have it if you buy the UC1, but you can't control anybody else's plugins, and you only can control those two plugins. With this system, you can not only control all of the Softube plugins, and there's many channel strips, different versions, different consoles and stuff, and we'll get into that in future videos. But the way I understand it too is you can also control universal audio plugins. And I don't know if you can control anyone else's plugins, but you can control more than just two plugins by their company. So that's kind of cool. So we have everything laid out here. It looks pretty good. The text looks good, easy to read. Pretty straightforward. We'll have to see when it's lit up how it's gonna look. But anyway, so it feels good, it looks good. Nice, so far so good. So that is the channel strip portion of this. So let me set this aside here. And let's get out the faders. Okay, so the fader box feels a little heavier. And so let's get this out. So this I've never seen before. Like I said, I've seen this in person once before, the channel strip portion of this. Again, I had the very first version when it first came out, and I only had it for a couple of days. So just like in the other box, we have instruction manual, nice foam pads packed really well. We have a quick start guide. We have a USB cable. You can put all of that over here for now. Let's take this out of its box. Okay, now this looks like it has a power supply, and it does. And that is for the motorized faders. So we'll have to make sure we realize that. So we have power supply All right, so now this feels a bit heavier than the actual channel strip portion of this. Let's get this box out of the way here. So once again, it comes in this nice bag, well packaged. All right, so here it is. Here's the first look at this. Here's the fader portion of this. And again, I'll put some B-roll up here so you get a better look at it. Let me just take a look at this. Okay, so we have the same kind of feel. It's a little bit heavier. It's got the same rubber feet on the bottom or silicone feet so it doesn't slide. We got these faders here. Feels really good, really smooth. And again, this is motorized faders for recall and stuff, which is really nice. Again, same kind of buttons, small round buttons. Everything's plastic. The outer casing is metal. The fader caps are plastic, but it's a heavy duty kind of a plastic. It doesn't feel cheap or chintzy, which is nice. And if I put this in front of or next to the channel strip here, it's the same exact physical size. So from a design perspective, that makes a lot of sense. So you've seen other YouTube videos where people will have them kind of on their desk like this. Again, this table's not very long enough, but you can have something like that if you wanted to have it, but that takes up a lot of real estate. You can also do something like this on your desk. But again, you're taking a lot of real estate, and we're gonna talk about the stand here in a second. But these are nice heavy duty built units. So I'm pretty happy about that. So, okay, so we have this USB power cable on the front, nice and sturdy. Now this is 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 faders. And when talking to the folks over at Softube, because a lot of the control surfaces that you see are like either a single fader, or they're 8 channels, or they're 16 channels, right? And they said there's a specific reason why they picked 10 faders. And the way I understand it, and it's actually kind of clever, I never thought of this, it really has to do with when you sync it up to your DAW, and you're banking over and you're seeing what's on the screen reflect what's happening on the actual hardware. They said when you deal with 8 channels, it's a little bit more confusing on where exactly you are on the screen versus on the hardware. They said they put a lot of thought in coming up with 10 channels is easier for us, you know, not so bright musicians and engineers to do math. I mean, it's easy to think 10, 20, 30, as opposed to 8, 16, 24, 32. It just makes it a little easier. So I guess the reason why they picked 10 was to make it easier in the way you kind of connect with it with the actual DAW. It makes a little bit more logical sense, and it lays out a little bit nicer. At least that's what they say. We're gonna test that theory out and see when we get to the next video. So that's pretty cool. So we got the 2 units here. So let's put this behind me on this side. And let's get out the stand and put this into the stand. So this is really cool too. So this is by the good folks over at, this is the DS series. This is the Pro Socoustic, I think is how you say it. I'll leave the link in the description box below. They make custom stands to put both of these units in, so it's in a more compact footprint on your desk. And that's, again, one of the things I didn't like about some of the other control surfaces that I've tried on this channel is they take a lot of desk real estate. They're really cool. This seems to solve some of that problem. It comes in a few different finishes. I got the dark, what looks to be walnut finish because my desk happens to be that color, the tabletop. So we're gonna see, we're gonna put this together here. We're gonna put the units in here and see how it looks. Okay, so what do we got here? And again, I want to thank these guys so much for sending me this stand to do this review. So we got some double bubble wrap. We don't need that. We have a 1-page instruction, which shouldn't be all that difficult to put together. So here's the sides here. Here's the wood sides. And again, they make these in different finishes, I guess, and even a natural finish where you could paint it whatever color you'd like. So there's 1, there's 2, and we have 1 piece of MDF with the with their name, with their branding. You can't really see that too well. Again, I'll do some B-roll here. So we got just 4 pieces of wood here, and we have a couple of screws and an Allen key to come with it. So let's see here. We got some heavy duty screws. Okay, so we got, wow, some nice big wood screws here. And then we got an Allen wrench to go along with it. And that's that. So let's see if we can try to put this thing together. should be, it's 1, 2, 3 steps, right? So Dave's not that, I'm not that stupid, right? I should be able to do this, right? So if we take, we got A and B here. So let's take one side here first and put it on the floor. And let's see, do we have an inside and an outside? Looks like that should be on the outside like this. So I think we need this one first, even though they should be exactly the same. But let's take a look at that. And we got to put these things in. So the one with the, okay, so the top board is the one with their logo on it. So we want to make sure that that kind of goes like this. Ah, I get it. So we're going to go like this, and it's going to go like this. So it's going to sit on an angle. All right, so you think Uncle Dave can do this without screwing this up? What do you think? Or are we going to use a bunch of fancy video editing to show how I can actually get this done? What do you think? I don't want to take up too much time. You could always fast forward this, or maybe I'll put this in a high speed in video editing and do that. So let's get these started here. But this is pretty simple. You only have 4 or 5, 6 screws here? What is it? 3, 6, 8 screws, I think it looks like, to put this thing together. So we'll get this started. To me, this is what makes sense. To have this stand makes a lot of sense. If you didn't have the stand and you had to take a lot of real estate on your desk, that would be kind of a drag. It's one of the things I don't like about some of the larger surface controls, is that, you know, it's great to have, you know, a 16-channel surface control, but it takes up a lot of space. And a lot of times too, what I've noticed with some of the companies that make these surface controls, and again, not any one in particular, but they all seem to have this, is that also on those surface controls, a lot of times, you know, there seems to be a lot of dead space, a lot of wasted space on those surface controls, which again, in essence, makes the footprint larger. Where it looks on this console 1 and on the fader here, we'll take a look a little bit closer in a minute, where they've filled up the space pretty nice. There's not a lot of dead empty space on the top. So the unit is compact as maybe as it can be, right? So we got that, and then we got to put this one kind of like this. Okay, so there's 4 on each side. All right. If I can always quit my day job as an engineer and an educator, and I can be a carpenter. What do you think? So that's one thing that's really cool. I like the stand. Now here's another thing that I'm almost certain. I need to double check with Softube. I probably should have done that beforehand. But I also am under the impression that you can also, on this fader, you know, the fader unit, you can also hook 2 of them together and daisy chain them together. So if you wanted to use 20 faders instead of 10. Now that would mean that your stand did have to be a different type of a custom stand, and I've never seen one. Again, I don't know why you'd want to do that, because the 10 faders can bank. If you have, you know, 60 channels in your session, you could just bank over 10 blocks of 10, so it's easy. But if you wanted to have more physical faders and you had the desktop real estate, I'm pretty sure you can do that. I got to double check that with Softube if somebody was interested in that. And then if you can do that, how many of those things can you daisy chain together? Can you put 3 of them together and get 30 channels, or 4 of them together? If you had a big studio desk, I don't know. Which if you could, then you can have different kinds of custom stands, right? From this great company here. Prosoustic, I think is how you say it. Prosoustic. I don't know why they didn't call it Proacoustic. Probably because that name was taken. So they had to go with something else. Cool that they make some good, this is nice. This doesn't feel cheap, and I'm glad it's made out of wood. It's not made out of a cheap plastic. It looks nice. It looks nice. So let's get these last few screws in here. Hopefully I put this on the right way. And then we'll get the units in there. And we'll take a look and see how they fit, if they fit really nice. And then what we're gonna do in the next video is I'm gonna get it hooked up, and we're gonna start with Studio One. Now this can work with just about every DAW. I think as of the recording of this video, it works with Studio One. I believe it works with Cubase. As a matter of fact, I know it works with Cubase. I'm not sure about Pro Tools. I know Pro Tools and the way their protocol works with surface controls might be a little bit different. Again, you want to check Softube's website, things like Logic and stuff, to make sure that your DAW is compatible. But my guess would be, if not every major DAW is compatible, it will be at one point in time. But I'm sure it works with all the major DAWs, but because I'm a Studio One user, that's the one we're gonna check out first, and then maybe we'll do one on Cubase, and I have all the DAWs, so we can check them out on all of them at one point or another. If you guys want me to do that, you'll leave comments in the description box below, right? Because that's what you need to do. So, 2 more screws, and this thing is pretty much put together. We don't need that anymore, right? We don't need the directions. We're done with that now. So let's get these last 2 screws in, and then let's get this thing set up and see what it looks like. So I can already tell you that this is going to take up a little less physical desk space than the UF8 by Solid State Logic, and also the Fader Port 16 by PreSonus. Not much less width-wise, but again, you're getting a lot more functionality with these 2 units than one of those units, and these 2 units, because you're going in an up fashion, it's going to be a little bit easier as far as desk space is concerned. Let me just get the last one here, and then we'll get these things together. Oops. So let me know in the comments below if there's anything, you know, specific you want to see. I mean, we're going to go through all the feature set with Studio One, how easy it is to install. We're going to do some mixing with it. We're going to play around with it. And I'm really going to give you kind of a, you know, a feel for how does this feel compared to really working on an analog desk. Is it going to be exactly the same? Well, of course it's not going to be exactly the same, but to have that tactile feel and get some of your hands off the mouse and keyboard, how is that going to be, you know? How is it really going to feel? Because I have both a console and now the Softube Console 1 here with the fader, I can tell you how it's going to be. Okay, so now we got our stand together. So that was pretty easy. Okay, so let's get rid of this. Again, you can see the wood grain on the side, and again, it comes in different finishes and fits and finishes as it were. So let's put this in. So our console 1 slides here in the top, I guess, if I did this right. Hopefully this will just fit in really nice and easy, and let's see here. I have loosened up one side? No, it should fit right in. It's gonna be a nice snug fit. That's gonna be really good. Okay, so I get it. Got it, okay. And then let's put the other one in. So this is designed specifically for this unit. Okay, so I probably should have left one side a little bit loose to get this in there nice, before I tightened it down. Let me do that. Let me just, I don't want to damage this beautiful unit. Let me just unloosen this a little bit. Probably shouldn't have tightened it so tight. But that just means it's going to be a really good fit, right? Which is going to be great. So let me put this one fit in okay. This fit nice. Let me just loosen this side just a little bit, just to give it a little bit of wiggle room, and then I'll tighten it back up again once we get the fader unit in here. So let's see. I love the way this thing feels though. It feels really rugged and like solid. It doesn't feel cheap or chintzy or, oh yeah, that's a really nice fit. Okay, I could see why they did it that way. All right, I'm gonna turn this around in a second, everybody. I'm probably gonna should I loosen the top a little bit? Let's see. I don't know, that's sitting right on the wedge. Yeah, I could probably loosen this just a little bit. So there's a little pro tip for you. Don't sock these things all the way down. Loosen one side yeah, there we go. Just a little bit, and make sure that both units are sitting in there nice. And there's a little lip on the outer edge of these. You want to make sure it's sitting down in that little lip, just to give it a nice fit. All right, just like that. Just like that. And then once you get it like that, then and only then should you tighten these things up a little bit more snug. Again, it's not gonna keep it, you can't pick the thing up and toss it upside down. They'll fall out for sure. But it's a nice custom fit, it looks like. Okay, now let me get these down here. And then let me turn it around so you guys can see it. All right, there we go. So now I think we're rocking and rolling here. Okay, so that's a little bit of a tip for you. Keep one side just a tad bit loose so you can do that. All right, so now let me give you guys the, here's on the back, you can see the way they have a slot here so you can get the wires, because you probably got a USB one to the other would be my guess. I'm not really sure. We'll figure that out in the next video, but we got placement for wires. And here it is. I mean, I mean, it looks cool. I mean, I'll tell you what, it looks really nice. That's a nice design, very nice design. And here it is. It looks really, really good. It's solid. It's heavy, you know, you can pick it up and move it around quite easy, but you want to make sure that you keep it from falling out. But yeah, you know what? And the angle of this thing, I mean, just, you know, kind of mimicking sitting at my, perfect. So this is great. One of the things that I don't like about surface controls, and we talked about this, and this is not just, again, I think we talked about this in the PreSonus one. And again, it's not a dig against them. I love their stuff, right? But all of the surface controls that lay flat on the table, and especially ones that have like little LED scribble strips and those kinds of things, or LCD, I should say, sometimes the angle isn't right where you got to kind of look over the top to read what's going on. What I love about this, and I'll turn this around again so you can see it in the stand, is the angle of this is perfect for when you're sitting and looking and just reaching out. That angle is perfect and you don't have any trouble seeing what the knobs do. The one thing that I wish, and again, although you could put these side by side on the desk, I would highly recommend you buy the stand. On Sweetwater's website, when you look, they show up, you can buy one or the other, or both together in a package with the stand. And I believe the stand you can purchase separately on Sweetwater as well. Don't hold me to that, but you can definitely buy it from Pro Acoustics. All you gotta do is check the link in the description box below. So if you have these two units and you don't have the stand, go get the stand. It makes a way bigger difference. Less floor, less tabletop space, and the angle of this seems perfect to me. The only thing that I would say about this thing that I wish it had out of the box or an option, and you can do this with third-party stuff as well, is on the channel, on the console one, all the knobs are black. So you have 4 very distinct sections, and I'm probably gonna do this myself for this unit. You have your shape section, your equalizer section here in the center, your compression section, and your output section. I wish the knobs were different colors. Or you could get little round stickers and colorize them. You can take these knobs off. I'm sure you can pry them off, and they probably make, third-party companies probably make knobs for these in different colors. Maybe it'll be a little easier to reach out and see, especially with the EQ. You can get different color stickers or knobs for the different frequency bands. That might be kind of cool. But outside of that, and again, that's, you know, that's being picky. Outside of that, it looks really cool. It's not too big. The angle looks perfect to me. So that is our Console 1 fader and the Console 1 in our custom rack. Really, really cool. Again, check all the links in the description box below. It's built well. It feels pro. It doesn't feel cheap in any way. How does it work? How does it sound when we get it into our Studio One, into our DAW? Well, that's what we're gonna have to see in the next video. So I wanna thank you so much for joining me and taking our first look here at the Softube Console 1 and the Console 1 fader and the custom stand. Again, all the links will be in the description box below to check this out. If you want to check this out for yourself over at Sweetwater, if you want to check out the stand, also come back for the next video, depending on when you're watching this, and maybe a playlist already, or there'll be a playlist in the description box. How many videos will be there will be depending on when you're watching this. If you're watching this first video when it first gets released, over the next 2 weeks or so, we're gonna do a whole bunch of videos. In use, how we use this, how we set it up, how it functions, what do I think, how is the tactile feel compared to working on a real console, how does the SSL channel strip that comes with this sound, and then also what other channel strips and plugins are able to be controlled, and how do they function and sound with the Softube Console 1 mixing system. I think this is really cool. There's a lot of promise here, and if there's anything here that I think that you may want to be concerned about, or maybe some improvement suggestions as I get to use this, I'll be sure to mention that as well, because that's what Uncle Dave does. He wants to give you a very fair and honest review of these things to see if it's something that is worth you checking out. So once again, please like, share, and subscribe. Now, thanks so much for sticking around to the end of this video. I really do appreciate it. I want to give you something absolutely free just for checking out this video. So first, if this is your first time here and this is the first time you're seeing Uncle Dave, I want you to go to homerecordingmadeeasy.com because I want to give you a free mixing course. We're talking about mixing. We have a mixing system here. Let me turn this around so you can see this wonderful product. We have a mixing system here. You want to learn how to mix, you want to get better at the craft of mixing, whether you have this or not, it doesn't matter. I can teach you, and I want to give you a 90-minute free mixing course at homerecordingmadeeasy.com. Right on the homepage, big orange button, you can't mix it. If you dig my style of teaching after you take that course and you say, you know what, I want to check out one of Uncle Dave's other courses. I have a whole online school on everything from mixing to mastering to recording, compression, EQ, parallel compression, so on and so forth. I got tons of training just for you at all experience levels, from absolute beginner through advanced mixing, concepts and techniques. I want to give you a discount coupon code for checking out this video. That coupon code is YouTube25. You use that at checkout, it will take 25% off any training course on my website. So thank you so much for joining me here today. Until the next video, come back and check out what we're going to do with this Console 1 mixing system. I've been Dave with homerecordingmadeeasy.com. Thank you so very much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. Take care, everybody.